Ladies and gentlemen, we've gone through an interesting revolution when it comes to the border crisis. At first, there was no border crisis. Everything was honky-dory. Jen Psaki completely refused to say that there even was a border crisis. She slipped up at one point in time and then quickly corrected herself after a reporter called her out. There's no humanitarian crisis at the border, none whatsoever. However, if you saw my last video, link in the corner up here, you will know that there absolutely is a crisis at the border right now. Our migrant facilities are being overrun, especially with young children who are being kept in these facilities, something that the Democrats had previously called a humanitarian crisis. But there's no humanitarian crisis now. But there really is, isn't there? Now, there's no denying it at this point in time. And one thing that we can blame is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is to blame for this. Right now, you have the media telling us that there absolutely is a crisis at this point in time, that there's no denying it. Now there is one, but it's all Trump's fault. And it's Trump's fault because he had bad policies. And it invited all these people to come down here. But is that true? Well, I can tell you right now, according to the immigrants, it's Biden's fault. Right now, at The Federalist, we have this article. Illegal immigrant says he crossed the border because Biden, not Trump, was president. Let's dive in. An illegal immigrant in Tucson, Arizona told ABC's Martha Raddatz that he recently chose to cross the southern U.S. border because Joe Biden is president and not former President Donald Trump. Asked, would you have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president? The response was pretty interesting. Definitely not. Definitely, said one migrant father at a Catholic charity shelter. We have a chance, that the same violence that is going on today wasn't there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely wouldn't do this. Raddatz pressed, so did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president? He responded, basically. The main thing was the violence in our country, and the second thing was Joe Biden. The migrant is one of many illegal aliens who flooded across the U.S.-Mexico border shortly after Biden assumed office and eradicated many of Trump's immigration and border security policies, such as requiring asylum seekers to wait in Mexico for their court proceedings. As the migrant said, Biden's policy decisions opened the door for many previously hesitant aliens to illegally cross the border without the same level of fear of retribution they felt under the Trump administration. Now, how bad is this increase? Well, we can take a look at the graph here. This is from the U.S. Customs and Border Protections, and this is the list of their encounters. Now, you'll notice this right here is 2021. All right, this little graph here, you'll notice that it's ticking up big time. Right now, according to the enforcement encounters, are sitting at 100,441 and growing. Now, let's come down here to 2020 when Trump was president, and you'll notice that they get significantly lower as time goes on, and they start to rise at around May, June, July. Now, what does that tell us? It tells us that once Joe Biden took the presidency, once he got into the White House, they got braver, just as the man who was the immigrant who was interviewed said. So this is indicative of a huge problem. Now, we can change this to nothing but accompanied minors, and we see the same thing. Now, here is everything right here, and you'll notice that 2019 is also involved. We had a spike in 2019 that started going down big time. Now, this is when Trump started getting real serious about the border. You'll notice that things started to go down big time. Right here, even as it spiked in 2019, right here in 2021, you still have unaccompanied minors coming in, much more than in 2019. Definitely much more than in 2020, in the year 2020. So, Joe Biden's policies, his attitudes towards illegal immigration, and how we would punish that, has definitely lightened, and it's definitely encouraged people to come over. Now, you'll notice that this, according to Fox News, Biden now tells migrants don't come, but he had a different message in 2019. This is the message that has been inspiring people to come over, despite the fact that Joe Biden has been saying, please do not come over here. We're not ready for you yet. We will be, but not right now. But in 2019, he was singing a different tune. This from Fox News. Let's dive in. During a 2019 Democratic presidential primary debate, President Biden said that the United States is a country that tells people struggling under oppression or poor conditions, you should come, as he argued for more open asylum policies. But now, as his administration deals with the crush of migrants on the southwestern border, many being kept in poor conditions similar to those Democrats considered a scandal under the Trump administration, Biden is still telling migrants to remain in place. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are, Biden said of those applying for asylum in a 2019 debate moderated by Univision's Jorge Ramos. We're a nation that says, you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come. This year, Republicans blame Biden's campaign rhetoric and policies for the situation at the border. The president has shifted and is telling migrants that they should stay in their home countries as he aims to let them apply for asylum where they are. I can say quite clearly, don't come over, Biden told ABC's George Stephanopoulos in an interview last week. So don't leave your town or city or community. We're going to make sure we have facilities in those cities and towns run by departments, by DHS, and also access with HHS, the Health and Human Services, to say you can apply for asylum where you are right now. Okay. So, let's review. Back in 2019, when the crisis was happening, they tried to tell you, the mainstream media tried to tell you, that there was no crisis. There's no crisis at the border. The only reason that Trump was doing what he was doing was because he was a racist, okay? It was just a manufactured crisis. You had Jim Acosta at the border where a fence was saying, look, no one's trying to cross over here. He's sitting right next to the fence. I never understood why he tried that. You had pictures like these coming out. This is a completely manufactured crisis driven by the racism of POTUS. It enrages me. This is from NBC News. A migrant family, part of a caravan of thousands traveling from Central America en route to the United States, runs away from tear gas in front of the U.S.-Mexico border wall in Tijuana, Mexico. This is apparently all a manufactured crisis and always has been since 2019. However, now we know for a fact, due to the information that we've received that you can see in the previous video that I released, that we have an overflood of migrant children, of migrant families coming here, and they are making it very crowded in these facilities. And according to this one man, this illegal immigrant, he makes it very clear that it is Biden's policies, it is President Biden and the way he looks at illegal immigration that is inspiring him and others to come there. They're even wearing shirts, as you can see here, this little picture. Biden, please let us in. These are shirts that you can actually see them wearing. They are convinced that Joe Biden is going to let them in. And we know that they're convinced of that because Joe Biden himself convinced them to think that way. He told them that he was going to make it so that they could come over here safely and peacefully, that he would make way for them. And now, only now is he saying, please wait. Well, that wasn't his story back then when he was campaigning. When he was campaigning, he made it clear that he wanted them to come now, and they're here. So really, this is 100% Biden's crisis. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you're made aware when we upload new content. See you in the next video.